In the top stories, a psychiatrist gives the nod to medical marijuana as research shows more public support for legalization. Police report progress in 2 fatal shootings, and Ramon Gittens finishes second to Usain Bolt. Welcome to Nation News for Friday, May 20th, 2016. I'm Natasha Beckles. New research shows Barbadians are becoming more in favor of legalizing marijuana. Director of Caribbean Development Research Services, Peter Wickham, says 73% staunchly opposed the idea in 2008, but this dropped sharply to 37% last year. The survey was conducted by cadres on behalf of the Criminal Justice Research and Planning Unit in the Office of the Attorney General. Mr. Wickham presented the results on Thursday night during a well-attended panel discussion on medical marijuana hosted by UWI's medical faculty. There was strong representation from the Rastafarian community, along with representatives of government, pharmacists, medical doctors, and attorneys.
In December, what we found was that the retention of the status quo was by far more popular. In December of last year, 37% of Barbadians wanted the status quo retained, and that was the single largest group. So among Barbadians, the majority of us want to retain the status quo, that is that marijuana remains illegal. 30% supported a partial legalization, and 15% supported a full legalization. Of course, a partial legalization is legalization for medical purposes or religious purposes, and a full legalization is that anyone can buy it and use it recreationally or alternatively medically, and that only has the support of 15%.
Meanwhile, veteran psychiatrist Dr. Ermin Bell gave her support to the use of medical marijuana. She told the audience she was not advocating the indiscriminate use of the drug, but it was time for the country to embrace advances in medical treatment.
So how do we, psychiatrists and other concerned physicians, proceed? We now have to look at the good. We must still continue treatment of those who succumb to the ravages of substance abuse, and specific to this discussion, the fight against marijuana abuse. But we now have to look at the good that can be realized by the use of medical marijuana. I will not err on the side of promoting indiscriminate use of marijuana. Every effort has to be made to achieve harm reduction. Education about marijuana must continue vigorously to give especially our vulnerable young people the opportunity to make the choice not to use marijuana if they so desire, especially if they come from a family with a predisposition through their genetic makeup to develop psychological or psychiatric impairment as a result of this usage.
Police say they have made a significant breakthrough into the killing of one man, while investigations continue into the shooting death of another. A number of persons are said to be in custody, assisting with the investigation into the death of 40-year-old Cherno Ricardo Rose. He was shot and killed yards from his Neil Cemetery St. Michael home on May 12th. Meanwhile, investigations are continuing into the murder of Colin Ford, who was gunned down outside his business, Colin's Sports Bar and Lounge, on Baxter's Road on May 10th. Barbados Water Authority workers can expect to receive the around $17 million owed to them before the end of the year. Word of this comes from General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union, Tony Moore. She was speaking on Thursday evening following a meeting with scores of employees at Solidarity House.
The money will not be paid in one lump sum, that much we can say, because naturally this was an agreement to reach that the ministry did not contemplate, because there was no expectation that the money would have been paid. There was only an expectation from the Barbados Workers Union that the money ought to have been paid and that we would push for that money to be paid. So the ministry had to determine, that's the Ministry of Finance, how it would go about allocating that and still maintain cash flow integrity. So we have not yet finalized how the monies will be paid, but the proposal is that workers will have the complete outstanding amounts owed by the end of November at least.
The Cahill waste-to-energy plant may have been scrapped, but the Future Centres Trust isn't celebrating just yet. Public Relations Officer Cammie Holder said they are still in waiting mode since government still has to find a waste management solution.
We must look at what would be the financial implications of not going ahead with this plant. So therefore, we have adopted a wait-and-see attitude towards this waste-to-energy plant. But let me say that as recently as last week, Thursday, within hours of the minister's pronouncement, I got a call that a Canadian company was on the ground in Barbados having meetings, claiming that they have solution similar to waste-to-energy of less environmental impact. So we are not out of the woods as yet, because waste-to-energy plants are seen as cash cows for a selective few.
Mr. Holder was speaking on Thursday during a press conference at which Byco Limited announced an environmentally friendly range of food containers and utensils. The plant-based products created by the United Kingdom brand Vegware are an alternative to styrofoam. The CEO of the Barbados Agricultural Society has accused the Barbados Renewable Energy Association of failing to partner with the agriculture sector. James Paul said Brea seemed to be giving the pig industry the cold shoulder when it comes to exploring the benefits of pig manure as a source of renewable energy. However, Brea's executive director, Clyde Griffith, said the organization has been battling resistance since its inception, and if it had more support from government, it could do more.
The whole question of looking at biodigesters, all those kind of things are particularly important. Because I went all over Europe looking at biodigesters and looking at the farms and so on and seeing what was necessary for Barbados. Essentially, this organization, Brea, has fought every challenge, and we are still fighting challenges to get recognition.
Residents of Pool Land St. John are calling on the authorities to do something about a persistent cow itch problem in the area. They told Nation News the plants had grown considerably over the past 3 to 4 years, and it was hitting them in their pockets. 99-year-old Hermione Paris says she has to buy creams to stop the itching and wash her clothing 2 or 3 times to get rid of the plant's prickles. Her neighbor Sandra Holder said some members of her family had developed skin problems, while Colin Green said youngsters had to play in the street because of the amount of cow itch in the field. In sports, Barbadian sprinter Ramon Gittens has finished second to Usain Bolt in the men's 100 meters at the Ostrava Golden Spike Athletics meet in the Czech Republic. Running out of lane 2, Gittens clocked a season's best 10.21 seconds behind Bolt, who pulled away from the field to win in 9.98 seconds. Hurdler Shane Brathwaite also recorded a season's best time of 13.63 seconds in the men's 110 meters hurdles. And finally, police responding to a burglary call at an office in Central Florida found an unlikely culprit, a raccoon hiding behind a potted plant. A concerned worker had called 911 after finding several ceiling tiles on the floor and papers strewn about the office. Officers arrived and began going room to room, and that's when they found the raccoon. They captured it with a catch pole and let it out of the office into a wooded area behind the building. All's well that ends well, I suppose. And that's Nation News for Friday. For more news, log on to nationnews.com and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Remember to pick up your papers over the weekend or subscribe to our e-paper. And look out for the weekend buzz a little later. Thank you so much for joining us.